Okay, good morning. Today we're going to be replacing, we're going to be putting a new alternator in this 2001 Cadillac Catera. The item we're after is that little job down there. I believe it pays about 2 hours in labor time to do that. There are a couple of interesting things about this job. One is this little guy right here. It's kind of a large contraption. Takes up quite a big deal there, and it's a little bit of a challenge to get out. There's 3 ways to get that out. Number one would be to pull the cooling fans and maybe the radiator or something, I don't know. But since this particular vehicle has Dexcool, I'm not interested in messing with anything in the cooling system. It's a pressurized system. I mean, Dexcool doesn't respond well to getting air in the system. So I'm just going to kind of finesse it out. Some people probably just rip it right out, and it probably works fine. I'll be skipping forward through that because it's a little bit of a time-consuming process, but eventually we're going to need to get to the alternator, and there's some blind bolts. And what I mean, bolts you can't really see. So when you get there, you're going to need a tool like a mirror, like this item here, or like that item there, and you'll need that probably to go ahead and complete this job. So if you don't have that, plan for that. And there's a couple of Torx bolts where you'll need Torx sockets, and I'll give those sizes after I get farther into taking this thing out right here. Okay, so we'll take a break from right here. Okay, I want to jump in here, and I want to say that last time I did one of these, I tried to pull this thing out leaving as much intact as possible, which is kind of a typical mechanic thing to do. But in this situation, that is not the way you want to go. You want to go ahead and separate this thing pretty much and do it by pieces. So this bolt over here is a little bit counterintuitive. There's a little nut that goes on there, and that goes over to this piece over here. And then the other one is down here. And there's one on the bottom, I'm pretty sure, so I'm going to go down and get that, and then I'll get some pictures from down there. There's a couple of electrical connectors and some vacuum hoses to disconnect that go down in there, and you should be able to find those without any trouble with the flashlight. Okay, so what I was referring to earlier about bolt on the bottom is this deal here. You just want to take this off to make it easier to pull the whole deal out, the air induction piping. So there's 2 bolts here, one and one over here somewhere. Those are Torx. That's an E8. And then here we get our first look at the alternator, and the wiring's in the back there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that first bolt on the alternator, which is an E16. Okay, so the trick with this guy is to kind of rotate it in a counterclockwise fashion as you're facing it. So part of the beauty of this is all these other extra hoses that are in here. You got to get up under this radiator hose over here. So the little bracket or flange or whatever has to kind of come under the radiator hose. And then you're gonna turn counterclockwise. And when you get about this far you get a much better angle on this electrical connector right here, and mine is stiff as a board. Or hard to disconnect is what I'm trying to say. Amazingly hard to disconnect. So I'm going to go get another tool. See if this will work. Obviously you have to be real careful with the radiator. So I'm just man-fangling the heck out of the clip, and it still doesn't want to come off. Pretty amazing. You'd think this part of the car had to go through an earthquake or something. There. That was about 10 times easier than last time. Make sure you take that off the bottom first. And be real careful with that radiator. So here's a good look at the alternator. And we're going to go ahead and release this serpentine belt, which is right here. It looks like maybe a 15, and we'll brake until after I get that off. I'm just gonna, you know how to do those. You just swing it. Okay, so probably pretty well aware of specialty tools that you use for loosening the tensioner for serpentine belts. On this Cadillac, there's a pipe that's kind of in the way here, and you probably have to have some kind of tool like that. I thought it might be nice if I showed you an old school trick for using 2 wrenches to get a lot of leverage, and it works something like this. So I've got the 15mm box wrench or combination wrench on the tensioner. And I'm going to take this big old wrench here, which in this particular case is a 30. Doesn't really matter what you use as long as it's big. And you put it inside of the open end of the other wrench. Okay? So it goes in like that. You kind of line it up so that you've got so that you can apply your leverage to it. You get a kind of a good fit on it. And then you just use the one wrench as a kind of a cheater bar on the other wrench. And you've extended the range of your wrench that far. It's an old school trick. Don't know if anybody knows those anymore. And there you go.